Wow, I look like such an actual mess. But in the spirit of being real, we're just gonna keep it like this. Anyways, so hey, how's everybody? How's everyone doing? You're like, oh snap, you still do this stuff? Believe it or not, I actually film a lot of stuff and then I don't post it because one, I keep editing it and editing it and editing it and not liking it, so I don't post it. And or two, I film it and then I don't edit it at all. That's me being me. um so I just wanted to hop on. I feel like the more the more naked I make these, probably the less that I will stress over them and try to edit them and everything, when I kind of just want to use this to be like as real as possible for me to look back on, and for other people who might just be like, oh shoot, like something real, instead of the oversaturated stuff that other YouTubers be posting. And this is like absolutely no shade, because I'm totally subscribed to those YouTubers that people are like, oh, you're so fake, or you always pretend you're so happy. I'm right there too, subscribe to them. I'm one of the reasons that they're over 1 million, 2 million followers, is because I'm subscribed to them too. What I'm noticing is like I follow them less though, because YouTubers these days are leading completely different lives than people who, more or less are more normal and are in the same age range as they are. Do not have the same amount of money, do not have the same level of influence, because I'm not an influencer or a YouTuber, even if I'm, putting up a YouTube video. Like, I don't get invited to movie premieres, I don't have pictures with that watermark. What is that basic watermark that's over people's pictures when they go to the carpet events? I don't remember. It's like some stock thing, whatever. But like, I kind of like slowed down on watching those videos because these people are doing all these things. They have all this money. They are in their own apartments. They have their own homes. Like, they have their dogs. They're living this life. They get sponsored. They have merch. And it's just like, I felt like I was letting it get too much in my head, because I felt like I was comparing myself. And I'm always on top of myself to not compare myself to my siblings, which, if you didn't know, I come from a large family. I'm a part of a large family. I'm literally like, this is kind of like the reason I'm posting this video, sort of. Like, I have a hard time trying to not compare myself to my older siblings already, and only to be watching these YouTubers, which their intention is not to make me feel bad about myself or where I am in life right now, but I start comparing myself to these YouTubers that are 1 or 2 years older than me, and look at how much they're making. Damn, like Miss Remy Ashton literally went to the Captain Marvel movie premiere, which, if I'm being honest, if I was invited, I really wouldn't care to go to, because I didn't really care for Captain Marvel. But like, she's over there rubbing shoulders with, literally on the same carpet as Lin-Manuel Miranda, whom I love, and she's only a year older than me. And I've been following her since literally I was a senior in high school, so like kind of about the time that she got super, super popular. Well, for me, super, super popular, but like, that was like when she had just went off to school, and she was still considered a small YouTuber back then, but like, now look at her years later. And I don't know how long she's on it. There's other YouTubers who have been on it for like 10 years, 9 years, 8 years, 7 years, and it's like crazy where they are, what they're doing now. And like, it's just weird because a lot of these YouTubers, I almost dropped my phone, are really close to my age, and here I am, not done with school, almost done, but not done. Not in a real career, not that my job is not, it's just not what I'm trying to do for the rest of my life. Living in my parents' house, not completely free, but it's just like, when you think of how life is going to be when you're older, this isn't it. You don't think like you're going to be 23 years old, literally sleeping 3 feet away from your little sister, because you have to share a room, because when you left for college, your parents converted your room. Like, you know how people always joke about it, like parents will be like, I'm gonna change your room into an office or a study, blah blah blah, and all that stuff, and you're like, ha ha ha. No, my parents really, my first year of college, because of the way that our house is, it literally, they just built 2 walls to isolate it, and my dad added in like a kitchenette area, and I think a small stove, and boom, it became its own little rental space, because there was a bathroom down the hall from my room. So they did that my first year. Like, I was literally in my first semester of school, and that happened. So now I'm sharing a room with my little sister years and years later. Well, not years and years, it's 3 or 4 years later. And I'm sharing a room with my little sister. And before that, when I was living in the dorms and I'd come back, I would share a room with my other little sister on the bunk bed, and I hated it. And it's like, I miss having my own room, I miss having my own space, but it is not always easy breezy to be living out on your own. It's also expensive down here in Florida to be living on your like literal actual own, like I got my own space. It's not easy, and it's not realistic to think that you could do that with before I had a part-time job, but now I have a full-time job, and it's crazy. Like, I'm just reflecting, and honestly the thing that kind of made me reflect was that I got in an argument with my little sister, and she literally said, and I'm gonna just say this ahead of time, that I pardon her. She probably doesn't care, and she probably didn't see the weight in the words that she said, but she said to me, she's 17, she said, I belong here, you don't. What are you doing here? And it hurt, because it's like, you literally don't pay for anything. Who the hell do you think you are? But also like, wow, life is gonna suck for you if you get to my age and you think you're gonna have it all together. I don't think so far anybody in my family has really like been all off on their own completely, except kind of like my sister before me, sort of, but she was living in Atlanta and renting a room from a landlord in a house. So she was still essentially sharing a house. She didn't have her own space, but she had like at the very least her own room, you know? But you don't always get that when you're living at your parents'. You kind of just have to settle for whatever is given to you because it's not your house. And kind of the same thing if you think about it for dorms. It's not your own house. But I mean, I don't want this to get long, but I just kind of, I'm happy to say that I don't feel any way about living at my parents' house and being 23 years old. Like, yes, I'm 23 years old and I live at home and I share a room with my little sister. Now, I do pay bills. I do give my mom a certain amount of money each month. Before, I had a bill that I would pay, and then she changed it and is like, oh, you just give this much money and we'll put it towards bills. And it's like, okay. She told me it goes towards the electric bill, so I feel like I should be like that person turning off the lights in the house, like, I pay the bill. I'm kidding. But like, you know, I pay for my phone, I pay for my car note, I pay for my car insurance. Like, nobody pays for anything for me. I just live at home. And I'm kind of glad she said it, because it kind of like, it hurt at first, but then it was like, no, it's gonna hurt you more when you're my age and you realize this shit's not easy. Ooh, my bad. I did not mean to. Anyways, it's not easy. And anybody who makes it look easy is lying. Or maybe they had a small loan of $1 million. Who knows? But I just wanted to say that. I don't know how many people can kind of identify with that, where you think back to your younger self. Like, I specifically remember being 12, 13 years old and thinking like, I'm gonna be not off in the world, I honestly thought that I would have, like, by this age, I would have been in my own practice, like started my own practice, my own like office where I was a therapist for kids and teenagers, telling my assistant, hey, can you just make sure that for the next hour I'm clear, blah blah blah, and just playing guitar in my office and having a Wii U set up in my office to play video games and just chat with my patients, and so that they're comfortable, things like that. And that is what I thought for me. And I mean, maybe if things were different, it could have been that way. But honestly, I highly doubt I would have had my own practice, just because of how difficult some things are. It would have been more realistic to say that I'm working inside of an office of sorts. And like, I mean, even then, with how much things have changed, like, I mean, I also thought I was gonna be like a retired Disney star by the time I was in my 20s, but that's a whole nother story. Like, the more I learned about stuff, the more like what I wanted to do kept changing. Like, okay, I wanted to work in an office, but then I was like, but if I'm working in a therapy office, like, I can only like reach out to people who are brought to me, and I don't want to be brought anyone who I personally don't think should be brought. I'm not even gonna stir that pot. Like, and then I was like, well, school psychologist. Well, in the area that I'm living in, it's not really like a big thing. They don't even emphasize it that much. So I would either struggle to find a job or find a job and have like to balance 3 schools, which would not be ideal. And then I found something else that I wanted to do, and it was like, okay, well, now you're gonna have to have specializations in cognition and such and everything. And it's like, oh, this is getting too much. This isn't what I signed up for. This isn't what I wanted. And it's like, things change. I'm pretty sure there's a quote that says like, the only thing that goes according to plan is nothing goes according to plan, something like that. And it's just, I just wish that people would realize that more too, especially younger. There's nothing wrong with dreaming, especially to younger people. There's nothing wrong with dreaming, but you have to also understand that nothing is concrete. And sometimes you just have those moments where you're chilling at your parents' house, in your bed, and it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't ever let anyone make you feel bad for things like that. If you are living in a shoebox for the moment, as you get your career off the ground, good. That's the hustle. Like, as long as you're working towards something, that's a thing. As long as you're boosting others up too, and boosting yourself up as well, that's a thing. Don't ever feel like you're less than you're less than what you really are worth. And don't ever feel like you're supposed to be and you should have been at this spot by this time. Like, no. So that was a lot of scattered speaking, but I just kind of felt like bringing it up and sharing it. And I hope anybody who's kind of feeling like, oh, I didn't go do this like I was supposed to, I didn't go traditional 4-year and go straight into a job, like, come on. In the world we're living in, just do your best and everything else will fall into place. Ooh, that was weirdly inspirational. All right, I guess that's me signing out.